Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Folks, today is Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Texas Republicans literally hold a black state legislator hostage, refusing to allow her to leave the Texas House until she signs a permission slip that she will be accompanied everywhere she goes by a state trooper. We'll talk with State Rep Nicole Collier right here, exclusively from the Texas House floor, which is essentially has been her home for the last 24 hours. Also, another black state legislator says she was out on her morning walk and the state trooper threatened to arrest her because she was walking too fast. I told y'all these Republicans are out of their mind in Texas. The U.S. Marshals, they have a tip line that says you can get $500 for reporting a crime. I think we should all use that QR code and tell them to go arrest Donald Trump, all those thugs at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Breast cancer, a huge issue impacting African Americans. We'll talk to a nonprofit leader about that. Also, our marketplace segment, we've got a chef with a new product. We'll be talking about that as well. Lots to break down. Plus, my Spike Lee interview about his new movie with Denzel Washington. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered. On the Black Star Network, let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, this literally was Texas State Rep Nicole Collier last night, sleeping at her desk on the floor of the Texas House. No, she didn't get evicted from an apartment. No, she could afford a hotel room. But the Republicans, they told her unless she signed a permission slip, she would not be able to leave the Texas House. They locked the doors. They want her to join the other Democrats who broke quorum to sign a permission slip that says that they will be accompanied by a Texas state trooper wherever they go because they don't want any of the Democrats leaving the state again to stop the racist gerrymandered maps from being passed. Now, they plan on passing these maps tomorrow. And so as a result, Representative Collier joins us right now from the Texas House floor. As you see behind her, nobody's in the chamber. She's wearing the same clothes she had on yesterday, I believe. Representative Collier, glad to have you here. People around the country literally saying, what the hell?
You know what, Roland? Thank you for having me. So am I. It is absurd, as you say. It is as absurd as what you explained it. I mean, the audacity to expect a woman, a person, a human being to be subjected to this type of treatment is un-American. It's uncalled for and unnecessary.
Okay, so walk people through what you were told, because you're the only one, meaning all the other Democrats who broke quorum, they signed that permission slip.
Yeah. So listen, once quorum had been established, I did return to the floor after the quorum had been established. And the reason why I returned to the floor was because there was a potential for a fight to change our constitutional rules. And you need at least 45 Democrats to show up. So I was one of those who came to be here for the fight with my Democrats. But what I heard once the quorum had been established was the speaker say, those Democrats who broke quorum are free to leave this building if they sign a permission slip agreeing to be released into the custody of DPS, not just monitoring, but being in their custody. You know, that sounds criminal. I'm not a criminal. And I know it didn't sound right. It didn't make sense to me. And I wasn't going to go with it.
Okay, and not only that, correct me if I'm wrong, another state rep told me that they're requiring each member to pay for it.
Well, I'm not sure about this particular one, but before, when they had DPS looking for us when we were out of state, going to our homes, unnecessarily being wasteful, sending DPS officers to our home to look for us when they know good and darn well we were out of state, because there was very good evidence of that when we were doing our interviews and meetings. But that's just more proof of their waste.
Why come back? You know, I made the point last week that listen, if these other Democrats wanted to come back and want to break quorum, let them. But essentially, you know, black caucus members, it's like you're going back to your own lynching. They can pass the maps. They're going to pass the maps. It's going to decimate black political power. It's going to cut from 4 to 2 black congressional districts. There are some other legislators that did not come back to Austin. So why come back?
Well, you know what, Roland? If I didn't come back, would we be able to see the grit that is in every Texan right now? The crowd that is out there fighting against this corrupt system, who do not want to see these rigged maps pass? No, we wouldn't see that. That's why you got to show up. You got to show up to fight. You know, not showing up, you lose. You're guaranteed to lose. But you got to show up in order to take that fight. And that's what I did.
But aren't y'all guaranteed to lose tomorrow? Because the reality is Republicans, they have a supermajority. They can pass the maps without y'all. But had the quorum break held, they would not have an ability to even have hearings or even pass the map. And so did you and others want to stay out? Or was it simply too many other House Democrats said they weren't going to go back?
What we wanted to do is push back. We want to show America that we're not going to just roll over and take it. We're going to fight and push back. We want to bring that back into our party, into the Democratic Party, and let them know the fight never left. You just got to tap into it. And so that's what we're doing. We're showing America, even against insurmountable odds, there's still the opportunity to fight and make a change. Again, we know what the numbers are. I can count. I can handle. I know even sloppy Ted Cruz's sloppy math will count and show that 62 doesn't equal 76. So we know that we have to be here to try to push back and fight against any effort to reduce our power. And we can only do that if we're here. Okay, so clearly every other Democrat signed this slip. They've got a trooper that's following them around. And were you there by yourself all night? No. In fact, the chair of the House Democratic Caucus came back, Jean Wu, as did Representative Vincent Perez from El Paso. And today, just today, 7 of my colleagues tore up their paper, and they have joined me on this floor. They will be with me tonight in solidarity. Okay, so you'll be joined by several other House Democrats tonight. They're here. They're here right now. You talked about the folks outside. They also arrested some protesters last night who were outside of the chamber. And again, for folks who don't, so did they physically lock the doors, meaning you cannot leave out of any exit of the Texas House? I cannot leave the building. No, I cannot. The doors have been locked. In fact, they've cut off the live stream that usually runs 24 hours a day. They cut that off in the chamber. They have locked the gallery so no one can come in here. And the doors have been locked and they've been manned at all times. All right. So since they've done that, do y'all plan to set up your own live stream so people all around the country and the world could see what's happening? Yes. In fact, on my Instagram and Twitter page, we are live streaming so that you can watch. And we want to make sure that there's transparency. And so that's what we're doing. That way we can hold this government accountable for their bad acts.
This is, one of the things that that I have consistently maintained is that what you have here is you have a complete assault on black rights. There are more eligible black voters in Texas than any other state. And what I've said is that the fundamental problem in Texas is that it's not an organized. It's not organized. It's not an organized state.
All right, I wanted to see what's going on here.
Okay, what's going on?
I don't know. The speaker pro tem just walked in, and I don't know what's going on, so I
Okay.
just like to be nosy. That's the type of person I am.
You said so. The speaker pro tem, is that who's behind at the podium?
Yeah, he's back behind me. Yeah, I just like to know what's going on.
Gotcha. For folks who don't know, who's the speaker pro tem of Texas?
Joe Moody,
Joe Moody, Republican.
Democrat from El Paso.
Democrat from
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Gotcha. So we can read a lot into that. What I've said is that the problem in Texas is that it's not organized. You had, when Beto O'Rourke lost to Greg Abbott, some 75% of young people 30 and under did not vote. You've got the same thing in terms of black vote. And what I keep saying is the only way to defeat these fascists, I mean, you got Greg Abbott talking all kind of smack on social media, lying left and right, but the folk have to vote. The votes are there, but folk got to actually use their voting power.
Right. I mean, I'm telling you, but they want to see something. They have to feel compelled. We're not dealing with the voters from the past. When my mom and dad voted, it was to protect their civil rights. We've got that gap generation where they got to feel something. They don't know the struggle that my parents had and the struggle that I had. Because we did so good, we're all sitting comfortable, a lot of people are. And so that may be harmful. I mean, it may not allow them to see the challenges that our ancestors face. And, on top of that, when our government is telling you that you can't teach critical race theory, you can't teach diversity, equity, inclusion, they're going to be a generation of lost souls if they don't know the struggle and the fight. Because not everybody who looks like you are your friend, and not everybody who says they're with you are.
I think was that a state lawmaker behind you who tore up her paper?
Yes.
If she could step in, that'd be great.
Lisa, they want you to come on in. All of you, come on in.
Yeah. So here's what we do. So if y'all could actually just step back, could step back that way, and if you could put a couple of on Felicia's side, on there you go. There you go. Just step up. Just step up. All right, there we go. Just give us your names.
State Representative Jessica Gonzalez from Dallas.
Cassandra Garcia Hernandez from Dallas as well.
And I'm Mihaela Lisa from Collin County.
The three of you had previously accepted that permission slip, signed it. Why did y'all decide to tear it up today?
Well, I just want to say Representative Collier's courageousness is contagious. And she was right. I think that we all need to be very vigilant as to what's going on in our society. And sometimes we so easily just sign something, right? And we don't realize with that signature that we might be signing away our freedom or our dignity. And that happens all the time, right? And so what Representative Collier did was shine a light on that. Her instincts were correct. What she did was right. And I think that within the chaos of everything that was happening, we got caught up in the hustle and bustle of things. But when we slowed down and we started paying attention to what, the light that she was shining, she was right.
And I'll add that I think Representative Collier mentioned that part of this fight is showing up for the fight, right? And once we knew there was quorum, then we wanted to be here for the fight, because for the next part of the fight. And so, yes, I signed that permission slip as well, but seeing our colleague stand up for our democracy, standing up for what is not right, because we are not criminals. I am a lawyer myself, and I understand the law, and nowhere in the rules does it say that once we voluntarily show up to DPS, that they are allowed to have DPS follow us everywhere that we go. My neighbors think that I'm a criminal. They're concerned, like, why are there police officers that are that are surveilling your home. And we're not criminals because we have not broken any law. We're setting up for our districts. And it is not our fault that our Republican colleagues claim to be voting their districts. We are doing what our districts want us to do.
Yeah, and I might just add as well, I mean, quite frankly, none of us intended or even knew that this was going to be awaiting us whenever we showed up. So I think a lot of us were just caught off guard and realized that everybody was essentially going to the room and doing this. And so we just naturally were thinking this is just normal, but it's not normal. And it took the courage of Nicole saying, I will not do this, for us to take a pause, just like my colleague said, to take a pause and recognize that we shouldn't be, just like my colleagues have said, be treated like essentially like we've done anything wrong, because we haven't. We've done everything and used every tool that we constitutionally have. And now we're returning back to carry the fight over here. We're not running away. We will be here. We intend on being on the floor tomorrow so that we see this through and that we can take it to the courthouse. And so the fact that we are being treated and followed and having to sign away, essentially, just like Representative Collier has said, you know, the ability and the action of giving them that permission just speaks in multitudes. And that's not what Texans deserve. That's not what we've been elected for. So we knew that it was right that we needed to equally be here and support Representative Collier. She has always very often been a voice within our caucus and pushing back and asking why. And you know what? This was just another instance of when she did that. And just like other instances in the past, she was spot on. So I think what's really important too is that we've got some colleagues that maybe they want to be here, but they can't. And everybody has their different way of being in this fight. We don't want to divide or not recognize our other colleagues that are equally contributing in different ways, whether it's not necessarily being on the floor right now, but they're working on the strategy for tomorrow because they're lawyers or what have you. But this was a moment where we all decided this is where we need to be, and so that we can continue with Representative Collier to bring light and attention and continue to be at the forefront so that people don't forget what's about to happen tomorrow.
This is going to decimate Black political power in Texas. Look, I'm born and raised in Texas. I'm still registered there. I live in the congressional, my home is in the congressional district of Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. My parents have worked elections more than 50 years. I go back multiple generations in Texas on my paternal, on my dad's side. And, you know, there are a lot of folks, including me, who wanted Democrats to hold out longer, to stop them from passing anything. And do you believe that with what we're now seeing, with the actions being taken, how y'all are being treated, that did any of you want to remain out to prevent a quorum? Because the bottom line is they got the votes. They have the votes. They can ignore Democrats in Texas like they can in Alabama, in Mississippi, in Tennessee, in Georgia, in so many other places.
You know, one thing that was very interesting when we got to Chicago is that we got to go visit our friends in labor. And one thing that they have shown us is when you're part of a group, you stick with the group. You may not agree to the path, but when the majority does, you go along and you don't cross that line. And so they have been a shining example of what it looks like to stand together, because that's how you make change or get change, is if you, stand in solidarity. In fact, they gave us these bracelets that say solidarity to remind us of the importance of staying together, because when we're together, we win. We may not win this particular battle in terms of the maps, but the public, they'll have the ultimate victory when they get a new president and get Trump out of that White House. And when we can make sure that we protect people's ability to have food, access to health care, earn livable wages. And so these are things that we're fighting for, and it takes a lot of us to work together. So if Texas is going to do 5, we want California to do 5. If Florida does 3, we're going to have to pull to New Jersey and Maryland and New York. And we're going to keep pushing and pushing to see if we can bring in other supporters to take the same action. Because, I know that they say when they go low, we go high. But Roland, that high road has crumbled. We're on the dirt road now.
No. Let me be perfectly clear. That was Michelle Obama. I don't believe I don't believe in going high when they go low. I believe in going lower. I mean, because I'm just being perfectly clear. Listen, Texas Republicans have shown us they don't care about rules. They don't care about procedures. They support Donald Trump. We see it in D.C. These people have, and listen, I know y'all. Look, y'all are elected. Y'all have all them phrases. You know, my colleague, my dear. I don't use all of them. These people today, they have no morals, no values, no principles, no ethics. They do not care, no integrity, no honor or decency. It's about power. And Democrats are going to be, to be clear, as ruthless and as gangster, because what they want to do is they want to lock in white rule 50 to 100 years for Texas to be 61% people of color. And they literally want a congressional delegation that is more than 70% white. Is crazy. But I keep saying, you can't have 61% people of color in Texas, but 61% of the voters are white. Black people and Latinos are going to have to turn out in massive numbers in the next election to change what's happening in Texas. Otherwise, they're going to keep doing whatever the hell they want to do.
Roland, you ain't lying. That's the truth.
100%.
Absolutely the truth.
So, do they at least, do you get to bring in food? What the hell? Do they control everything, or is this like a hostage negotiation where you got to negotiate stuff?
I actually did negotiate something. So the bathroom, I can use the restroom. I'm allowed. I eat and I have water. In fact, what I negotiated was being able to go to my office and back as long as I'm escorted with the sergeant or in DPS. But the hosts have been very gracious. The only thing I don't have is a shower, so I'm still in the same clothes.
Bed.
Or bed. Oh yeah, no bed.
Yeah.
But my chair, it's working.
Okay. You know me, I'm like, damn, I wish there was a window in the bathroom you can crawl out of. But oh well.
Oh, I look.
I would like for y'all to comment on this. So one of your colleagues, Guy, pulled a tweet up. She posted these tweets earlier, and it was just crazy. When I saw this, I couldn't believe it, that here she was on her morning walk. And she posted that that there was a Cheryl Cole, that she said, while on my morning walk, let me read this here. In the Muller neighborhood, my DPS escort, who was forced upon me to track my every movement, threatened to arrest me. He lost me on the trail, got angry about it, and made a scene in front of my constituents on the trail. While a little shaken up from the incident, I remain undeterred by this intimidation tactic by House Republicans to have a 24/7 state police presence to intimidate me and my colleagues. This is also why I stand with my colleague, Nicole Collier, who has refused to go along with this charade and is still on the House floor 24 hours later. Will not be intimidated by this. In history, we remember this. I mean, damn, he's mad because he can't walk as fast as she does.
Now, Cheryl, she likes to walk now. She just, and these are her streets now. She knows which way to go on those streets. I don't know what happened. Cheryl is very kind, a very kind person, very astute. And so I'm disappointed to hear that this happened to her. And again, more intimidation tactics. And remember, they are doing DPS, the Department of Public Safety, they're taking their directives from the Speaker and the Governor. They're doing what they are being told to do. This person may not even approve it or agree to it, but he's got a job. He's got a job that he has to do. And so, we got to be mindful of that. I don't like the tactics that are being used because I don't want anybody to lose their job. But if they have to go to the point where they are no longer professional, we got a problem.
I agree. And so, look, good luck with this. I plan on, we're looking at dates now, so I plan on bringing my show to Texas because, again, we know they're going to pass the maps. They're projected to pass the maps tomorrow. But the only way to counter these fascists in Texas That is, they have to be taken out at the ballot box. And I really hope that people now wake the hell up and realize what is going on, because this is all about satisfying Donald Trump. It is about creating a schism between African Americans and Latinos. And we know exactly for what this is. And so keep up the fight. And we definitely will keep giving them hell as well, because at the end of the day, this nonsense has to stop.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Roland.
All right. I appreciate it. Y'all be well. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Any aggers in y'all group, gig them. All right. All right, folks. I'm going to go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
This week on A Balanced Life, we're discussing all things young adulting. You've graduated high school, now what? I know you're ready to move out of your parents' home and do your own thing, get on college campus and have fun with your friends, but there's some tips and tools that you'll need in order to be able to enjoy the journey to young adulthood.
Just walked across that stage, you excited, you bout it, you ready to live your life. You don't have to listen to your parents, you come and go as you want. But do you have the funds to live the lifestyle that you have grown accustomed to?
That's all next here on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie on Black Star Network.
Hey, this is Motown recording artist Kim. You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. That boy, he always unfiltered though. I ain't never known him to be filtered. Is there another way to experience Roland Martin than to be unfiltered? Of course he's unfiltered. Would you expect anything less? Watch what happens next.
All right, folks, my panel, Dr. Mustafa Santiago Lee, former senior advisor for environmental justice at the EPA, joining me from D.C., Dr. Larry J. Walker, associate professor, University of Central Florida, from Orlando, Tylik McMillan, social justice leader and movement strategist. Glad to have all three of y'all here. Thanks a bunch. Mustafa, I'll start with you. Look, we see what the Republicans are. We see how thuggish they are. This is kind of crap they're going to do in Texas. Look, they got to fight back. And listen, I get what they're saying. I still disagree. I wish the Texas Democrats had held out even longer. 2 weeks, to me, was too short because they couldn't get anything passed. And then a problem in the Texas Senate, nine Democrats walked off the floor. Hell, 2 of them stayed. If the 2 that had walked out with them, they couldn't have passed the Texas maps. To me, you got to use everything in your arsenal fighting these thugs, because that's what they are. They are thugs.
Yeah, they are most definitely that. You know, I think all of us wish that they had stayed out longer, that they had made sure that they continue to build the momentum of people paying attention, all these different types of things. You know, I just want to call out for Representative Collier also. I remember the words of Dr. King when he said the time is always right to do what's right. So I appreciate her, you know, in this particular moment. And then, of course, the others who have torn up those slips. I'm also very curious, you know, that what was it, 1866 there in Texas, that same Texas state legislatures when they passed those the black codes. And those black codes are very similar to the sets of actions that they're doing now. Now, I understand that there are Democrats of all hues that are a part of this, but the ripples of how people used to view folks and devalue folks are still there. Because you remember the black codes was about restrictions. It was about being able to restrict people from voting, from holding office, all these different types of things that we still see playing out today. So we just got to be very clear about where does this stuff come from? Why do folks think that they have the power to be able to do these things? And it's because there is a history that exists there. And that's why folks have to fight back, because it is both about the past and what's going to happen, not only in this moment, but moving forward.
And Larry, I'm glad these other Texas Democrats realized they should have signed that damn slip. They should have told them go to hell. See, if you're going to talk about sticking together, every Texas House Democrat should have said, all y'all can kiss my ass.
Roland, we find out who's really about that work. And one of the problems with what you just described with them signing the form and Democrats in general is their focus on decorum and not discord or disruption. You got to shut it down. And you have to do whatever's in your power. You don't want future generations to look back and say, hey, listen, if they'd waited a few more weeks, then maybe they couldn't pass the map. I think the other thing is when we talk about this conversation about Representative Collier being forced to stay on the House floor, is that we have to make the connection between this issue and how Black bodies are seen as ownership as it relates to property throughout United States history, particularly Black women, that they felt they had the right to tell their sister that she can't leave, and if she leaves, she'll be arrested. And once again, that connection between Black bodies, ownership, and what we see in the state was former part of the Confederacy in Texas, is an example of how we have to fight white supremacy throughout the United States. So we can't continue to allow these individuals to get away with it. And once again, you have to be willing to disrupt the system as much as possible to ensure the rights of Black folks and other minoritized groups aren't watered down.
And listen, I made the point, Tyler, to these Democrats, man, make them arrest you. I said, go to your house and chill out and say, oh, y'all want me? Man, come to my crib. I said, and then they come knocking on your door, have 1,000 folk outside, walk out, kneel down in your front yard. I mean, that's the kind of resistance. Can you imagine if every single Democrat, 62 of them, had said, I dare y'all to stop all of us from walking out of here. I dare y'all to put handcuffs on all of us. Man, they should have bum rushed the damn door.
Yeah, I think this was definitely the time for strategic resistance to be, at the forefront of what the plan was. And I think when they broke quorum, they carried the hopes of, like you said, many Black and young voters who often felt silenced by this system that often, systemically disenfranchises us. And I think the frustration is very, very valid. For many, Black voters, especially those who often see the nice side of the politics. This was a time to show us what type of survival we're actually standing in. And at the same time, I also thought that, it's important that we grapple with when we talk about symbolism and strategy. And I think the lesson here is like representation matters, but representation without resistance isn't enough. And I think the resistance should have been longer. And I believe that the liberation right now from our leaders who not only make a stand, but hold the line, even when it's uncomfortable. And I think the line should have definitely been held longer, because now the question is asked, is the momentum compromised for voter suppression?
And listen, I just can't accept this idea. Mustafa, you can't play nice. And to Larry's point, my biggest criticism of Democrats in D.C. and in Texas and other places, they believe in institutions. They want to do things nice and right and fair and just. Don't want to raise their voices. No. What these people are doing is evil. And you have got to fight evil with everything you got. And that, I'm telling you, they should have sat here and said, what's that? Man, I ain't signing that bullshit. And somebody should have stood on their desk and said, don't nobody sign that damn sheet of paper. I would have dared them to lock every House Democrat into the House. You got to create the spectacle.
You do. And, it also helps to highlight the fact that the system in Texas is broken. We know it's broken in other states as well, but this is, an important moment. So you've got to do whatever is necessary. The author Rachel Carver one time said that white feelings should never be held in higher regard than Black lives. And we know that Black lives are going to be impacted because that's why they're doing this. It's going to strip resources away. It's going to strip access away. So when you don't do everything within your power to protect Black lives, it sends a message to those folks who have sent you to office, to those who are looking to you to be a voice for them, for you also to be able to stand up. So, they've got to carry that now. And I understand there are all these different dynamics. I understand people got kids, people got other jobs, and all kinds of different things that they've got to be able to do. But when you raised your hand, you also took the responsibility for your constituencies. And for all those Black constituencies out there, now they are going to be less represented. They're going to be in greater danger. So you got to carry that, as well as all of the accolades that you get when you do something right, when you do something that is not right, when you do something that is devastating for many communities, then you got to carry some of that weight as well. Indeed, indeed. All right, y'all, I gotta go to a quick break. We come back.
Why is it that governors in 3 broke-ass states are sending the National Guard to D.C. when they got crime in their own red states? And why is Fox News crying like some little punks because Gavin Newsom is trolling Donald Trump? Oh, by the way, did Donald Trump think that was a good side to slavery? Wait till I show you what this fool posted on social media. Oh yeah, we got a lot to break down. Folks, support Roland Martin Unfiltered, the Black Star Network. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. The goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each a year, $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. If you want to support us via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. Click the Cash App button to contribute. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
This week on The Other Side of Change,
300,000 Black women being pushed out of the workforce.
this is shocking yet unsurprising.
So what happens when a bunch of Black mothers lose their federal job? Their kids are not being fed, their kids are not being taken care of, but that trickles down to the entire community structure, which may be built on the backs of Black mothers and Black women more broadly.
Tune in on The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network.
This is Tamala Mann.
And this is David Mann. And you're watching Roland Martin
Unfiltered.
All right, y'all. So Louisiana, red state. Mississippi, red state. Tennessee, red state. Why these dumbass governors sending National Guard troops to Washington, D.C.? Tate Reeves, your punk ass ain't dealing with crime in Jackson, Mississippi, the state capital. Bill Lee, punk ass governor of Tennessee, you ain't dealing with crime in Memphis. Punk ass Jeff Landry in Louisiana, your sorry ass ain't dealing with crime in New Orleans. See, this is the bullshit, Larry, that we see from these Republican governors, all fronting, oh, we sending our National Guard troops to help out like they sending troops to the border. No, deal with the stuff in your own red state. See, again, this is what happens when folk don't want to push back against these old punks, these MAGA punk governors.
I've been watching this play out the last few days, a few weeks, and obviously it's all disturbing. You highlight some really important points. Those governors have issues in their own state. Obviously Louisiana, in terms of the outcomes, particularly for Black folks, among other things that Governor Landry is certainly not dealing with. But this is going to get a lot worse before it gets better, Roland. And we need to be clear about people watching this. L.A., D.C., you've heard the president mention other cities like Baltimore, Chicago, et cetera, who are experiencing dramatic drops in violent crime, particularly murders. But this isn't about that. This is about authoritarianism. This is about, also undercutting the advances that you've seen Black folks and women and other groups make over the last several years. But these governors are just rubber stamping this. And we have to, once again, those voters in those states have to hold those individuals accountable. And we also need folks who are not members of our community to start speaking up. Because eventually all this stuff that's rolling downhill and disproportionately impacting the Black folks and other minoritized groups is going to impact everyone. It's coming for you eventually. Mm-hmm. So those people in those communities who don't speak up, you don't want to wait 6 months to a year when they're grabbing people off the street in your neighborhood and then you start complaining. You better speak up now because it's coming for everyone.
And look, we know the idiots at Fox News and the fools who work for Donald Trump. Look, they'll just be a hypocrite. So this was 18 months ago. Oh, trifling, lying-ass, white nationalist loving Sean Hannity. This is him talking to Kristi Noem, now Ice Barbie, about the authority of the president to use the National Guard. Watch these liars.
The Republican governors, they all deserve credit, that stood by Governor Abbott's side. If you didn't stand with him in solidarity, I'm not sure I'm not sure Biden wouldn't have precipitated a real crisis down there.
Yeah, Sean, I went the actual day that showdown was supposed to happen. People asked me why, when I heard the news, I immediately the next day was at the border. And it was because of what I heard Democrats encouraging the president to do. They were encouraging President Biden to activate our National Guard soldiers so that they would stand down. He actually was going to take control of our South Dakota National Guard and actually activate them so that they would not protect America. So recognizing the real threat that was to states' rights and how that would be the first time in history a president would pay a soldier to not fight, to not protect our country, made me show up in Texas the next day to let Governor Abbott know I'm here. South Dakota is with you. We will defend our Constitution. We will defend our rights, because the last several years we've seen the Democrats take away our freedom of.
Yeah, okay, that's more that outlet kind of crap. But la 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 la. That's all that is. But see, they didn't believe in that kind of power when Biden was president, but they cool with that fool Trump being in the Oval Office. Tyler, you can take that one.
Yeah. As you said, when they do it, it's okay. But when it was done, it wasn't okay. And I think it signals that when we see what's happening here in D.C. and L.A., it sets a precedence that everywhere that none of our communities are safe. It means more profiling, more harassment. It means a constant threat of being stopped by police and being questioned just for existing. I think that signals something. And I think that kind of heavy-handed policing doesn't make our community safe. It just deepens trauma. It erodes trust. Just even me walking the street today, I've seen DA agents and FBI agents on our street. That doesn't give us safety. And I think about the words of Pastor Haynes, who said, all of us are called to sacrifice something. And I believe that we must sacrifice something in this moment to stand up to authoritarianism, because true liberation requires the self-determination of DC's residents to have the autonomy of their own city. And it requires all of us to stand up to what's happening and ensure that our communities are safe, because we make our communities safe.
And you can always, Mustafa, count on these dumbasses at Fox News. Chief idiot Lawrence B. Jones, Ainsley Airhead Earhart, that's Sean Hannity's side piece, and I don't know who this other fool is, on the couch. But listen to lying-ass Trump, the liar-in-chief, talk about how restaurants in D.C. are just doing gangbusters. Listen to this lie.
But now I'm doing something that I'm having such fun with, because I'm helping people. I've made Washington D.C. just an incredible place. In literally 4 days, I have friends that say they're going out to dinner. Did you see what's happening with the restaurants? They're bursting. Yes, they're all closing and going bankrupt. I mean, it would be. It would be great. There's a guy named Sean Hannity. He might take a very lovely young lady that he knows very well to dinner in.
Dumbass on the phone, just lying. Well, here's the problem. Steve Ratner posted this. This is a fact, y'all. Of course, the idiots at Fox News, they're too stupid to actually fact check anything. But you see it right here. 30% restaurant reservations are down 30% in Washington, D.C. because of what this fool has done. But we know he'll lie about a lie, Mustafa.
Yeah, that's what he does. He's all about misinformation and disinformation. We've highlighted on the show numerous times. The reality of the situation is that they want to destabilize these cities that are run by black mayors. And that's just a part of the intentionality of the game. If you've got law enforcement walking past you, you got tanks going by, you got folks with guns, you're not wanting to sit outside underneath of an umbrella and have dinner with loved ones. So they understand this dynamic. It also goes along with the false narrative they're talking about crime, which we all know is not true. It's been going down, so you should be better supporting that. But we also got to call into our conversation the fact that when you look at places like Tennessee and West Virginia, which have had huge opioid crises, fentanyl, and all these other types of things, then you have got to ask the question, if you're going to send these individuals, then who's doing the policing back home? And then who is actually figuring out how those resources that have been used for you to send folks over to DC that could have been used back in your respective states to help people to heal, to address the education deficit, to address the healthcare deficit that exists inside of those states, then not only are you impacting the folks in Washington, D.C., but you are also impacting the folks back in your respective states who are using their tax dollars. So you got a lot of explaining to do, not only to the folks here in the District of Columbia, but the people who also are inside of your states.
Yeah, but see, what this is all about the show. This is a TV show, Larry. That's all this is. And so it's a television show. That's how he treats everything. And the news media loves it because they've got, Humvees rolling behind and troops, and they love it. And they just keep making excuses for this tyrant, this dictator, this liar in chief.
Yeah, this is like a bastardized version of The Apprentice in D.C., not in New York. And folks that I care about.
Yeah, and we know who's the chief. We know who's the chief. We know who's the chief bastard. Donald Trump.
Yeah, you're right. And so I have friends, very close friends, and other people I've talked to the last couple of days, Roland, who live in the city or raising Black children, adolescents, and they're scared. And this is like you said, like a reality TV show, but it is disproportionately impacting Black folks, a majority Black city. And once again, Roland, I go back to my point. Americans can sit around and pretend like this is nothing or it doesn't matter. It's off a far off place and DC needs to be cleaned up. But every community is going to be impacted by these kind of decisions over the next couple of years. But we can't allow this to play out like you said, some bad reality TV show that's on Tubi. We have to make sure that we hold elected officials accountable. And then if you believe in democracy, and you have to fight for it. It's just not the Constitution. It's not a piece of paper. It's a living document. And if you don't defend it, this is what happens as it relates to authoritarians.
Well, what also happens when you've got an idiot who thinks that was some upside to slavery. Y'all, this is a social media post that Donald Trump put out today. Oh, y'all gonna love this one. The museums throughout Washington, but all over the country, are essentially the last remaining segment of woke. The Smithsonian is out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. Nothing about success, nothing about brightness, nothing about the future. We're not going to allow this to happen. And I have instructed my attorneys to go through the museums and start the exact same process that has been done with colleges and universities, where tremendous progress has been made. This country cannot be woke because woke is broke. We have the hottest country in the world, and we want people to talk about it, including in our museums. Interesting. Tyler, let me stick with this line right here. Where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was. So is Donald Trump saying that there's a flip side to slavery, how amazing it was?
Yeah, he has to be very delusional, which is nothing new here. But I think what he fears is not history, but he fears the truth. And it's because when the truth is taught, it empowers a new generation of young people and folks to wake up and to demand justice, to fight for liberation. And I think that's why they ban books in our schools. That's why they attack D&I. That's why they try to control what's happening in the schools, because they understand if they can adjust the minds of this new generation of young voters who will fight for democracy and liberation, they know that if they can take the power away from young white folks to never confront their responsibilities, they feel they're growing somewhere. But history is not theirs to rewrite. Our museums and our classrooms and our community centers, they're special. And I think it's an important time such as this to continue to stand up. And if they're going to try to dismantle our history, it's more important for us to make sure that our history is taught to our young folks.
Well, Larry, you're a professor. Maybe this is the problem. Maybe Donald Trump has been spending too much time watching PragerU Kids videos where, according to this right-wing nutcase outfit, slavery was really no big deal.
At school that you spoiled paradise and you brought slavery and murder to peaceful people. Leo? Sorry. It's what I read and heard at school.
Caramba! Those are some accusations.
The place I discovered was beautiful, but it wasn't exactly a paradise of civilization, and the native people were far from peaceful.
But you just said the Taino were peaceful.
They pretty much are. But there are other tribes who aren't. The Taino I had met had cuts and scars and bruises all over them. I asked why, and they told me about the Caribs, who are vicious, warring cannibals.
Cannibals? Like they
eat people, see.
Whoa.
Right? Hey, all the things that are bad in the world I come from, jealousy, lying, murder, war, it all exists in the land I just found too. But in Europe, we draw the line at things like eating people and human sacrifice. Some of the native folks from where I just left do those things regularly. So, these people in your time who think it was a peaceful paradise are misinformed. Or lying.
Yeah, but what about slavery? You didn't deny that.
Deny? No. Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world, even amongst the people I just left. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no? I don't see the problem.
Well, in our time, we view slavery as being evil and terrible.
Ah, magnifico. That's wonderful. I am glad humanity has reached such a time. But you said you're from 500 years in the future? How can you come here to the 15th century and judge me by your standards from the 21st century? For those in the future to look back and do this is, well, estúpido.
Are you calling me dumb?
Certainly not. I can tell you're a very smart young lady. But the idea of throwing away the past because of your present values is... Listen, I love and am thankful for the ancient Greeks, but they did lots of things that here in 1493 I do not agree with. They permitted lifestyles and worshiped gods that, as a Christian, I think is very bad. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't respect and honor all the incredible and amazing things they did.
So, good and bad is based on the time you live in?
That is a great question. I told you I knew you were smart. Some things are clearly bad, no matter when they happen. But for other things, before you judge, you must ask yourself, what did the culture and society of the time treat as no big deal?
See, Larry, I want people to pay attention to this. So, PragerU, right-wingers, and this content is being used in Florida schools, Texas, and this is the content Republicans want to replace PBS with. So this Christopher Columbus character, oh, he disagrees with all these other things because I'm a Christian. Oh, but you didn't disagree with slavery and how heinous that was. And you see what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, oh no, these things were not bad. You can't judge me according to those times. Well, there were actually people who were alive then who thought it was heinous as well. This is the kind of content that Republican billionaires are funding, and they want to infiltrate into every school nationwide. So when these right-wingers talk about, oh, the left, they're infiltrating our school, they're indoctrinating our kids, this is right-wing indoctrination.
You know, Roland, I remember a time when the Republicans didn't believe that the federal government shouldn't get involved in state or local affairs. But that time apparently is over once you get in power. The other thing is, I've been watching PragerU for a number of years and watched them grow from state to state, Florida, Oklahoma, et cetera. And now you see conversation at the federal level, like you talked about getting rid of PBS and use it as some kind of replacement. And so we got to call us for what it is, and that is a whitewashing of the history as it relates to my ancestors and many of our panelists here, my enslaved African ancestors. And I'm not going to sit around and tolerate it. We can't pretend like Black folks weren't for centuries, even after, past, 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment were, passed. Jim Crow in terms of how Black folks will continue brutalized, rapes of Black women, murder, lynchings during Jim Crow. We can't act like that didn't happen, and I refuse to allow that happen. And it's going to be really important for those who believe in, once again, in justice and talking about history and understanding what that means for the future. Make sure that we can't allow Prager and other these, disinformation platforms to gain popularity.
and Mustafa, for all the Simple Simons who were saying, man, y'all shilling for the Democrats, y'all got to accept this too. See, that's what's amazing. We tried to warn people. See, I'm wearing the shirt, FAFO. We got the new one, FAFO with Project Crossed Out 2025. We kept warning people. But see, you got a bunch of these loudmouth folks on YouTube and others who had all this smoke for Democrats, and this is the kind of crap that these right-wingers want in every school in the country. I keep telling people, they hated the fact that real history was being learned by white kids instead of his story, and they want his story returned.
Yeah, not only did we try and warn you, we were trying to protect you because many of us knew what was coming. So we did what we could, but unfortunately, there were a whole lot of folks who look like us. There were some folks who look like us who were doing everything that they could to also change the narrative of what really was going to play out. It's really interesting when I see those types of things because, they want to try and demonize indigenous brothers and sisters, whether they're in the islands or other places, but they don't want to tell the story about the dark ages in Europe and all of the very incredulous things that were happening in that space. They also don't want to talk about, Larry touched on it, the sex trafficking that was happening in relationship to slavery. Also the rapes that were happening as a part of slavery, the brutalization that was happening as a part of slavery, the 14-hour work days in the sun, not being paid and having very little to eat or drink, part of slavery. So they never want to tell the truth about it. And that's the reason they're trying to take over the educational systems. They're trying to whitewash history, which is nothing new. We've seen it time and time again. And then I also hear sometimes brothers and sisters saying, well, they can teach their children whatever they want to teach them. But you forget that same information is also being pumped into the minds of our children, our nieces and nephews, and our sons and daughters. So we need to make sure that we are getting engaged in this process because these are long-term effects. These are cumulative effects of the steps that these folks are doing. So I hope that folks are awake, and I hope that you are now willing to actually get engaged in solidarity to push back on this and then to reverse, these very devilish things that these folks are doing.
Indeed, indeed. All right, going to a break. We come back. We're going to talk about breast cancer, its impact on African-American women. We'll also talk about why these right-wingers so mad at Gavin Newsom because he's trolling Donald Trump using the same stuff Trump does. Plus, Marketplace segment, and Spike Lee talks about his new movie with Denzel Washington. All of that in the second hour of Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Fun fan club. Contribute via Cash App. Use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here on the screen, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com for the link. Check some money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of their white counterparts. But how did we get here? It's a huge gap. Well, that's why we need to know the history and what we need to do to turn our income into wealth. Financial author and journalist Rodney Brooks joins us to tell us exactly what we need to do to achieve financial success.
You can't talk about why we are, as Black people, where we are, unless you talk about how we got here.
Bridging the Gap and Getting Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
How you doing? My name is Mark Carey, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Deep into it, like pasteurized milk without the 2%. We getting deep. You want to turn that shit off? We're doing an interview, motherfucker.
Black women are 41% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women, even though white women get breast cancer at a higher rate. We also are seeing massive changes on the federal level when it comes to health care as well. And so the question is, what is the cutback on research, things along those lines? How's that going to impact black women? Ricky Fairley joins us right now. Of course, she is with a nonprofit that deals with this issue of breast cancer. Of course, one of the initiatives is When We Trial, pushing for more focused research and greater inclusion. Ricky, glad to have you here. But Ricky, here's the problem. You got attacks on DEI all across the corporations. You got Donald Trump in this administration. And so these folks don't give a damn about inclusion. What could the impact be on black women since they're cutting in such areas as research in so many different areas on the federal level?
You know, Roland, I am like the product of a clinical trial. So I had triple negative breast cancer, which black women get at 3 times the rate of white women. And we now know that a black breast cancer cell looks different from a white breast cancer cell. And all the drugs and therapies we have were made on white cells. And so clinical trials are critical to help black women stay alive. I did a clinical trial. My doctor had given me 2 years to live. I did a clinical trial. It saved my life. I'm now on year 13. And so it's imperative that we do the research. The good news here is, though, even though the government is acting crazy, the pharmaceuticals companies, their lifeblood is drugs. And so they have really stepped up. And I have to say, I'm up at Martha's Vineyard now, and I have support doing an event for Black Health. And I have support for pretty much all the pharma companies making breast cancer drugs, because they have stepped up to the plate and they are committed to doing the work that we need them to do and getting black women into trials.
Okay, okay. When you say they're committed to doing that, what are they doing? How are they reaching out? Are they advertising? Are they promoting? What are they doing to increase the number of black women in clinical trials?
They're bringing me in. They're bringing us in. They're bringing in advocacy groups. So I actually work for most of the pharma companies to help them recruit black women. My When We Trial campaign that we launched now 4 years ago, Roland, we've now signed up 28,562 black women into our clinical trial portal as of last Monday. And so I work with them. I've helped them make the marketing materials. You know, that's my background. We help them. We provide 24/7 nurse navigation. Our navigators are all black women who have had breast cancer, who are nurses and social workers. And we provide these support vehicles to the pharma companies. So they're basically hiring us to bring us in to help them find the black women and recruit with them.
You said 28. You said 28,000. What's the target goal?
28,000. You know, it's hard to say because we don't know. We don't even know what the right goal is. Right now, we have about 3% participation in clinical trials, but no one at the FDA can even tell me what that number is. What is the raw number attached to that 3%? We don't know. And it's never enough. But the average trial right now for breast cancer is about 4%. The trials that we're working on, we're getting them up to 12 and 15% by helping them recruit. So that's most of the work that we do right now, is helping pharma recruit women. We work with about 82 doctors across the country, oncologists who are doing trials. So we bring these doctors to the pharma companies saying, here's how you recruit black women. Here's where they are. Here's where you find them. You're not going to find them in Idaho. You're going to find them in Atlanta. You're not going to find them in Phoenix. You're going to find them in D.C. and Chicago. And we work with doctors in these cities where we know we can find them. And we have support groups in all of these cities to support the doctors that are trying to recruit women into the trials. But it's a huge effort. It's a huge effort. It takes a lot of money and time and energy. But it's the most important thing we can do. Because right now, if you're under 40 and you get triple negative breast cancer, which most women are getting at that age, the best treatment plan you can have is a clinical trial, because we know that the drugs aren't working for us. They didn't work for me, and they're not working for a lot of people. Black women under 35 get breast cancer at twice the rate of white women and are dying at 3 times the rate. 40% of black women with triple negative breast cancer are under 40, well before they would have that first mammogram. But the research has to happen, and we're going to have to find, by any means necessary, a way to do it without the government. And the pharma companies are really stepping up.
All right. So if somebody out there wants to sign up, where do they go?
Excuse me?
If somebody out there watching or listening wants to sign up, where do they go?
Whenwetrial.org. whenwetrial.org, or they can just email me, Ricky, R-I-C-K-I, at touchbbca.org. We will help you. We will guide you. We will find you a trial. We will get you the care that you need, and we'll support you with nurse navigation from a blessee, from a woman who's had lived experience with you and can help you walk through the process and help you through it.
All right. Ricky, we sure appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Roland. Good to talk to you.
All right, folks, going to a quick break. We come back. Time for our Marketplace segment. New product in our shop, Black Star Network Marketplace. That's next. Back in a moment.
This week on the other side of change,
300,000 Black women being pushed out of the workforce.
This is shocking yet unsurprising.
So what happens when a bunch of Black mothers lose their federal job? Their kids are not being fed. Their kids are not being taken care of. But that trickles down to the entire community structure, which may be built on the backs of Black mothers and Black women more broadly.
Tune in on the other side of change, only on the Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of their white counterparts. But how did we get here? It's a huge gap. Well, that's why we need to know the history and what we need to do to turn our income into wealth. Financial author and journalist Rodney Brooks joins us to tell us exactly what we need to do to achieve financial success.
You can't talk about why we are, as Black people, where we are, unless you talk about how we got here.
Bridging the Gap and Getting Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Now that Roland Martin is willing to give me the blueprint, hey, Cyrus, I need to go to Tyler Perry and get another blueprint because I need some green money. The only way I can do what I'm doing, I need to make some money. So you'll see me working with Roland. Matter of fact, it's the Roland Martin and Cheryl Underwood Show. Well, should it be the Cheryl Underwood Show and the Roland Martin Show? Well, whatever show it's going to be good.
Folks, you've been on social media. Boy, California Governor Gavin Newsom has really been trolling Donald Trump. He's been posting these tweets using all caps and almost the same language as Trump. And, oh boy, Fox News big mad. They real big mad. So Dana Perino of The Five, boy, she was just mad at him and is just foaming at the mouth. Watch this.
The other thing is, or at the debate, the other thing for me is that for the last week, Gavin Newsom, and why am I giving him advice? You have to stop it with the Twitter thing. I don't know where his wife is. If I were his wife, I would say, "What? You are making a fool of yourself. Stop it. Do not let your staff tweet. And if you're doing it yourself, put the phone away and start over. And if you really, he's got a big job as governor of California, but if he wants an even bigger job, he has to be a little bit more serious."
I'm confused. I'm confused. So, I'm sorry. Did I hear that right? Oh my God, he's got a big job. He should be doing these things. You know, play that back for the people who missed that.
The other thing is, or at the debate, the other thing for me is that for the last week, Gavin Newsom, and why am I giving him advice? You have to stop it with the Twitter thing. I don't know where his wife is. If I were his wife, I would say, "What? You are making a fool of yourself. Stop it. Do not let your staff tweet. And if you're doing it yourself, put the phone away and start over. And if you really, he's got a big job as governor of California, but if he wants an even bigger job, he has to be a little bit more serious."
Okay, so Gavin and his team responded with this tweet. I thought this was genius right here. No, pull up the full tweet from his people. Okay, thank you. Show that one. Let's go. I love this here. Dana Ding Dong Perino, never heard of her until today, is melting down because of me, Gavin C. Newsom. Fox hates that I am America's most favorite governor, ratings king, saving America, while Trump can't even conquer the big stairs on Air Force One anymore. Trump has lost his step and Fox is losing it because when I type, America now wins. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Tyler, what's crazy is she's saying that Gavin Newsom has a big job, yet Trump does the same bullshit. His job is bigger. I mean, so what this means is what Gavin Newsom is doing is working.
Absolutely, it's definitely working, and I get a joy out of seeing someone match Trump's energy, because I think oftentimes we get comfortable with comfortability politics of always taking the high road, but now it's become, as you said earlier, when they go low, we go lower, and so I love seeing it. But also I would even say, I don't want this to drown out away from the things that are happening in our faces, but I think it's definitely a joy to see somebody going toe for toe with.
But it's not drowning it. But it's not drowning it out, because again, I think it is important what he's doing. I think you have to get. What do we say? When they go low, you go lower. Okay? You want to be petty? I'll show you petty. And guess what, Tyler? Ever since Gavin Newsom started doing this, the last 3 or 4 days, Trump ain't posted in all caps. Oh, it's getting under his skin. But the fact that Fox News is whining and complaining about it when Trump, he was literally mocking Trump, shows you how stupid they are.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more, and I think it also it brings more folks into the conversation too. And I think, they're more eager to know what's happening. But I definitely shout out to Governor Newsom and his team for holding the line and making a fool of Trump.
But here's the other thing, Larry, and this is important. Trump has used social media to drive the network news narrative. So what Newsom is doing is saying, oh, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do the flip. I'm gonna do the inverse. I'm gonna do the exact same thing. And the fact that Fox News is talking about it shows you it's working. That's what people don't understand. See, folk gotta understand, these media people, they're suck-ups, okay? They're sycophants, okay? They're easy. How about this one here? Okay, Kid Rock. Oh, Kid Rock is so upset. Remember Kid Rock put out that poster? Then look what it say. Using AI. Kid Rock wants you to support Gavin Newsom. Oh, Larry, Kid Rock is pissed off. And the dumbass doesn't even realize that Newsom and his team, they're just being petty.
Satire that basically they're using, all they're doing is forcing them to look in the mirror. That's the bottom line, Roland. That's what they don't like. We get these constant capitalization and misspelled, crazy tweet, truths or whatever they're called on a daily basis, every day, every week, throughout the month, and so for the last several months. And so once again, when you take a mirror and force them to look at it, they don't like it. But and the idea of them contradicting themselves, her talking about, what's he doing? He's got a big job. Trump's president of the United States. I mean, what is he doing sending these, these tweets out or whatever you want to call them? We just talked about the one relating to slavery. I mean, that makes absolutely no historical and there's no practical sense in terms of, dismissing what slavery is all about. But we've had to deal with this not only for this term, but for the previous term. So if anyone should be tired, it should be people like me for constantly dealing with this nonsense.
I think it's brilliant, Mustafa, because, again, here's the greatest problem with Democrats today. They keep trying to operate in a political world that no longer exists. Oh, no, I'm not doing those things. That's beneath me, whatever. No, they don't understand the world we're now living in. They don't understand the social media world they're now living in. This is a brilliant way to combat the idiocy of the liar-in-chief, the twice-impeached, criminally convicted con man, Donald Trump.
Yeah, I'm right there with you because I appreciate great strategy. Newsom said, you want to flex? Let's flex. And he said, I'm going to do it better than you. He made sure that he's braggadocious. He made sure that, he's actually more like the meme than Trump is. I've only met him a couple of times. He's a tall man. Some folks, like the way he looks, so forth and so on. So they play that up inside the memes. Then on the other side of the equation, you got Trump, knocking on a real high number, overweight, all the different types of things. But yet he used those memes to try and make him seem like he was a great American hero. So Newsom just flipped it on him. So you shouldn't be mad. Game, recognize game. And that's the problem is that, like you said, Democrats want to play this very, antiquated set of actions and games and those different types of things. And that's not what time it is. You got to be willing to throw it up. You got to be able to use whatever the new technology is. And you got to make sure that people know, since this society seems to love whoever yells the loudest and whoever says I'm the best, he's making sure that he does that. And then, of course, he'll have to be able to back it up with his record. But, you know, they have an effective strategy right now, and that's why other people are shook.
Tyler, I love this here. Donald Taco Trump, as many call him, missed the deadline. California will now draw new, more beautiful maps. They will be historic as they will end the Trump presidency. Dems take back the House. Big press conference this week with powerful Dems and Gavin Newsom, your favorite governor. That will be devastating for MAGA. Thank you for your attention to this matter, GN. I mean, that's how you do this.
Exactly. Look, I saw somebody in your comments. They say when they go low, we dig for oil. So shout out to them. I saw it come across, and I think that sums it up. And I even saw the new name for the press secretary too. Always Lion Levitt. So I mean, I'm living for it.
Like, I love these. They're mocking his shoes. Look at this. Boy, this is awesome. All right, that's pretty cool. So check this out. Okay, here's another good one right here. They're putting Newsom on the Mount Rushmore. Okay, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. All right, I'm gonna pull up another one that I saw. I'm trying to find a photo. Oh, I love this one here. Okay, look at this here, y'all. This is Newsom, and then they posted this here. Here are three men who all claim to be 6'3" and 220 pounds. See, Mustafa right there. See, Mustafa broke that right there. Trump with his pants damn near pull up to his chest. I mean, come on, y'all. This is what you do. You mock the idiot. That's what you do. You make fun of him. Remember, it drove him crazy when Obama did that at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Okay, here's another one. Here's another one right here. They've been posting. I'm telling you, it drives. I mean, remember when Trump flew into California and Newsom met his ass at the airport? Matter of fact, this is the tweet. You'll see it right here. This was the deal where he wasn't invited. Newsom was like, what the hell? Y'all gonna stop the governor of California from going to the tarmac? Dude, that's how you have to match him, Larry. You gotta say, come on, punk, let's go.
Yeah, you gotta. I mentioned earlier, but Democrats focus too much on decorum. This is an example of Newsom saying, "I'm going to bring the same smoke," and that's what you have to do. And that's the only way we can push back on all this nonsense, Roland. And like I said, the rest of these, Democrats are just kind of want to play back and be reactionary. Where Newsom, what he's doing is he's constantly poking the bear. And just to let him know that, I'm here. Obviously, we know he wants to run president. Let's be clear about that. But I think the bottom line, his social media team, their strategies has been excellent. And also, he's done just a good job in terms of his press conferences and, once again, highlighting the important role California plays in the state. And also, like I said, keep jabbing Trump over what we know he's got some things that make him angry. So it'll be interesting to see how this continues to play out. But like I said, I think there's a lady that's in charge of a social media team. So congrats to her for really doing a great job. And once again, forcing the administration to look in the mirror. Okay,
I don't know if they're mocking. I don't know if Gavin Newsom actually sit this one out, Mustafa. But they're mocking him, say there was ketchup on his. Donald Trump puts ketchup on everything. And so they're using, that was the assassination attempt photo. And they're like, okay, we're going to give it to you. Okay, you want to play games? Trump wants to have nicknames. He wants to trash everybody. Newsom is like, okay, player, I'm going to one-up you every single time. I agree with this. I endorse this method, Mustafa, 100%.
Yeah, he got somebody on his team who actually grew up in hip-hop, because you see it reflected in how, they keep punching folks, how they also keep uplifting who he is and building the narrative around him. Maybe somebody came from poetry slams and knowing how to go toe for toe on these different types of things. But it's effective, right? And it is what, many in our country are actually looking for. On the Democratic side of the ticket, folks are looking for a fighter, right? We know our sister Jasmine Crockett be giving them all they want. But we also know that he is now, doing some very similar types of things. So they've got an effective strategy. They should ride it until it don't work no more. And they should make sure that, they're just making sure folks understand that ain't nobody just going to lay down and let you do all this silly stuff and not call it out in a way that is funny, in a way that is educational, in a way that is effective.
Absolutely. All right, y'all, quick break. We come back. Time for our Marketplace segment right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
I'm Russell L. Honoré, Lieutenant General, United States Army, retired, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Y'all remember during the election when Donald Trump, J.D. Vance were attacking the Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio? Well, y'all, guess what? Now the people in Springfield are concerned because they may now suffer. Donald Trump wants to end the temporary protected status for Haitian immigrants. There's some 350,000 Haitians in the United States. Well, the people in Springfield now say their town could be devastated. It could devastate businesses, housing, and the job sector. Faith groups are stepping up. They're mobilizing to protect the Haitian neighbors, pushing back on deportations, and urging Trump's folks to keep these legal protections in place. Obviously, I believe absolutely, positively, Mustafa, that temporary protective status should stay in place. But let me be real clear. Let me be real clear. If they choose to lift the temporary protected status, all I have for Springfield, Ohio, a city that was losing population, losing people, had vacant homes, all I have for y'all are thoughts and prayers because y'all let J.D. Vance and Donald Trump do this and scare those folk. So if your town tanks, suck it.
I mean, that's facts. I mean, I've been to Springfield before. I had a chance to talk to some of the folks. The Haitian community there plays an incredible role. So first of all, the people that I talked to didn't have anything negative to say. They said that, the folks were great citizens, that, that they were playing a significant role in helping to make sure that the culture was strong, that the economics were strong, all these different types of things. There were nothing but accolades that people shared. And what Trump does is he destroys economies, whether they're economies on the local level, on the larger state level, of course, on the federal level, because they don't think through. When you have these hateful sets of policies that are not really truly evaluating what does someone bring to the mix, and you just do this bigoted stuff, then there are repercussions for that. So Haitians have choices, right? If they don't want to stay here and continue to do the jobs that many of other folks didn't want to do, and as they continue to actually help to strengthen the housing market, they can go to Canada and they'll be welcome there, and they'll have plenty of opportunity that exists there. So we hope that folks continue to protect them, make sure that that we see that they are valuable citizens, and that that we continue to move forward in a direction that looks like the 21st century and not something from the 18th century.
Yeah, see, all these dumbasses, Larry, see, this is what happens when you FAFO. See? Okay, Ohio, they voted for Trump. your economy is about to be screwed. Nebraska, they voted for Trump. The governor called him begging, please end these ICE arrests because they're killing our farmers. Our gross domestic product in Nebraska is down 6%. Look at Las Vegas. AP says that 3.1 million tourists, it was an 11% drop compared to the same month of 2024. International travel is down 13%. Hotel occupancy down 15%. But Nevada, you voted for him. Again, thoughts and prayers.
This is a problem when the propaganda doesn't match the economic reality. And so a lot of these Rust Belt states, some of you described, and some of these other states in the West and various other states are finding out when you vote based on propaganda and not economic reality, then you're going to face some serious hardships. And listen, Roland, a lot of these challenges relates to inflation and these local areas and states suffering from their gross domestic product dropping. This is just the beginning. As they continue to attack more communities and deport more folks and more federal workers lose jobs, those economies are going to get a lot worse. And then they've eliminated a social safety net, which people voted for also. So in terms of, some of the challenges they're dealing with now, this is the tip of the iceberg. It's going to get, like I said, things are going to get far more difficult. So when you mistreat people, don't see their humanity, and they make a plus effort in terms of what they bring to your economy, and then you turn your back on them, this is what you get.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler, bottom line is, that they went for this crap. They fell for the okie doke. And this is what's going on. This was a tweet right here from Congressman Stephen Horsford, former chair of the Black Caucus. Las Vegas thrives on tourism under Trump. Canadian and Mexico visitors make up 53% of all U.S. travelers. Flight bookings are plummeting. U.S. tourism is down 12%. Nevada is down 8%. Canada's airlines are cutting Vegas flights. He testified about this. Let me go ahead and play this here. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna play this audio. This is what he said.
To ask Senator Cannizzaro, particularly because 30% of Southern Nevada's jobs are in hospitality. They generate over $80 billion of economic activity. Unfortunately, these blanket tariffs have alienated two of our most important trading partners, Canada and Mexico. And the facts for themselves, they speak for themselves. It's down 8.7% just among international travel alone. Yes or no, have you heard from local business owners who are suffering due to the downturn in our tourism economy?
Thank you for the question,
very quickly.
Congressman. Yes.
Okay.
Now, Jeff. Yeah, y'all getting screwed. They getting screwed. And I'm just sitting here, Tyler, going, hey, that's what happens. Y'all chose that punk. Y'all chose that liar. He's destroying the economy. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Olympics, these international people ain't coming to that. The World Cup, they ain't coming to that because Trump and his ICE people are going to be harassing people. They have not, they didn't allow the Venezuelan baseball team to come, the Senegalese basketball team to come. They've been shutting down. I'm telling you right now, if I am an international traveler, there is no way in hell I would come to the United States for the Olympics, for the World Cup or anything because you are guaranteed to be harassed by Trump's thugs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it continues to show around the world how, this administration views folks that are not from America. And even we go back to what's happening in with our Haitian brothers and sisters, it just proves, what immigrant communities often, feel and already know, that America runs on our labor, but treat our lives as something that's disposable. And I would even say, the fight for civil rights, it goes hand in hand with the fight for just immigration. And we must prioritize what pathways to citizenship looks like. We must prioritize, the communities that is impacted by what's happening with this administration. And I would even say, how do we shift the narrative around immigration to be more inclusive of Black immigrants from the diaspora is going to be important, because oftentimes Black folks are left out out of the immigration conversation. But situations such as this reminds us of how critical it is to ensure that that pathway to citizenship is highlighted.
But here's the thing that I have always said, Larry. I have consistently said, you gotta hit rock bottom. I said, you gotta have things tank. You gotta see things go to hell. And guess what? All them dumbasses in Kentucky, that's exactly what they are feeling right now. Bottom line is, this is a piece right here. You got these in Kentucky, these whiskey distillers filing bankruptcy, having issues. We see what's happening with Uncle Nearest, their financial issues. But guess what? You've got millions of Kentucky whiskey just wasting away on shelves, in warehouses, because the Canadians are like, nah, y'all can keep that crap. And you can thank Trump for it. So another red state economy being destroyed by the dumbass in chief, Donald Trump.
Yeah, you talked about Kentucky and whiskey, and I saw the report. It was Canadian newscast when they talked about, Canadians, the government, and certainly even some before the tariffs really kicked in, some whiskey that was delivered there. The Canadians said, we're not buying this if it's made in the United States. So they're going to be, like I said, people voted for their own demise, as I like to tell folks, which it's like the worst self-own in world history to vote for this. Tariffs, in terms of how they treat undocumented people, laying off federal workers, our healthcare infrastructure, all this stuff collapsing at the same time. And I'll go back to my point again. In the past, when we had the last recession, under George Bush Jr., we had certain programs in place to support Americans. Those programs aren't around anymore. So folks who voted for this, they're going to feel it, particularly in these rural communities and other underserved communities that thought this was in their best interest. But you're like Kentucky and some of these other, states that don't have a lot of wealth are going to disproportionately feel the economic impact. And like I said, things are just getting started. They're going to be far worse by the end of the year.
Last point here, Mustafa. I just love this chart right here. Top 10 spirits exporting states. Tennessee, Kentucky, this is to the EU. Tennessee, Kentucky, Florida, Texas, Illinois, Indiana, California, Arkansas, New York, Georgia. Red, 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 red. 7 of the 10 are red states. Okay? Y'all about to FAFO when it comes to the Europeans and y'all spirit sales. But that dumbass sitting in the White House, oh yeah, he don't care. But all them red states, all them broke ass white people, y'all about to be out of jobs. Oh, guess what? Unemployment ain't gonna be good for you because they cutting that. Oh, guess what? You're gonna need some SNAP benefits. Yeah, they cutting that. Well, I'll be damned. You're gonna need some health care. And they're cutting that.
Yeah, that social safety net is gone. It's gone for everybody. Doesn't matter if you live in a blue state or a red state. Folks need to just wake up, right? In my speeches, I used to always have a part where I would say, make sure you vote for somebody who actually cares about your community, who's willing to actually make investments in your community, and who cares about your children. And from this current administration, we haven't seen any of those types of things. They've gotten from you what they needed. They wanted your vote. They told you what you wanted to hear, and now the reality is kicking in. But they also, if you would have went a little bit deeper, you would have actually been able to see that when they were talking about Project 2025 and Agenda 47 and all these various things that were out there, that, yeah, after it impacted Black and brown folks and indigenous folks, you were right there also the next to receive these impacts that were going on. So as we move forward, the midterms are not that far away. It's literally a blink away. I hope people will actually analyze these individuals who are asking for your vote and ask yourself the question, will my life be better? Will my children's life be better if I give them my vote?
So let me say the final comment before I go to break. This is for all y'all people in Nevada, all y'all people in Kentucky, and all y'all people in these red states who fell for Trump stuff. You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. You are about to lose your job. And y'all can't blame it on Black people. You can't blame it on brown people. all y'all can do is blame that white supremacist in the White House. I'll be back.
This week on A Balanced Life, we're discussing all things young adulting. You've graduated high school, now what? I know you're ready to move out of your parents' home and do your own thing, get on college campus and have fun with your friends, but there's some tips and tools that you'll need in order to be able to enjoy the journey to young adulthood.
Just walked across that stage, you excited, you bout it, you ready to live your life. You don't have to listen to your parents, you come and go as you want. But do you have the funds to live the lifestyle that you have grown accustomed to?
That's all next here on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie on Black Star Network.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Devon Frank.
I'm Dr. Robin B., pharmacist and fitness coach, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, my next guest has traveled the world, Paris, Morocco. She's an international chef. Joanne Thomas has a quite busy palate. Okay, we don't have her. I thought we have her. So what? Okay, so let's fix this audio, y'all. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go 2 more commercial breaks. And we're going to fix the audio, and then we're going to come back.
Next on The Black Table with me, Greg Carr, we welcome the Black Star Network's very own Roland Martin, who joins us to talk about his new book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. The book explains so much about what we're going through in this country right now, and how, as white people head toward becoming a racial minority, it's going to get, well, let's just say, even more interesting.
We are going to see more violence. We're going to see more vitriol, because as each day passes, it is a nail in that coffin.
The one and only Roland Martin on the next Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of their white counterparts. But how did we get here? It's a huge gap. Well, that's why we need to know the history and what we need to do to turn our income into wealth. Financial author and journalist Rodney Brooks joins us to tell us exactly what we need to do to achieve financial success.
You can't talk about why we are, as Black people, where we are, unless you talk about how we got here.
Bridging the gap and getting wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Hey, what's up? Geek Totally in the place to be. Got kicked out your mama's university, creator and executive producer of Fat Tuesdays, an air hip-hop comedy. But right now, I'm rolling with Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
All right, folks, we have not sorted the audio issues with Chef Thomas, as we have to rebook her, and we'll definitely have her back on the show. So let me do this here. Let me thank my panelists, Tylik, Larry, and Mustafa for being on today's show. Gentlemen, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. We'll keep giving them hell. Thanks a lot. Folks, Spike Lee, Denzel Washington, they are back at it with a new movie called Highest to Lowest. It's in movie theaters. It will stream on Apple TV Plus on September 5th. This is the trailer.
New mixes of mood music. I need a theme. Theme music. Hey! Wake up, y'all. The king's here. Got to pay back. Hey. Buying back, stacking his records. It's a lot of money. There's more to life than just making money. It's integrity. That's what you stand for. What you think? I think you gotta be a little crazy sometimes in this world to get what you want.
Ain't this son? I got your full attention now, huh? You finally listening to me.
Somebody's got Trey.
What do you mean somebody's got?
Somebody's kidnapped our son.
$17.5 million in an all-black Jordan backpack. Try me if you think I'm playing.
I ain't got
11 a.m. board the 4 train on the money-making Manhattan.
You let him go, I make sure you set free.
It's too late for all that.
It's never too late.
You're not God no more, nigga. I am.
35 and I'm still a pretty guy.
I gotta feed the streets, my lady, and a newborn kid. And I ain't trying to go back and do another bid, you dig?
I know what it is to risk everything you have for something that you want. I know what that means, to have nothing and want everything.
What is that?
Insurance. That's Jake from State Farm.
Shout out to my felons, boy, we caught another felon. Shout out to my felons, boy, we caught another felony. Shout out to my felons, boy.
I can't go out like this, you know that.
Shout out to my felons.
Well, then his blood is gonna be on your hands then.
Pack out the trunk.
Oh, you want to do this? I got into this by myself. I'm going to get out of it by myself.
Where's my money? I got the 4-pounder sitting right here. Don't try nothing funny.
Well, folks, I had a chance to sit down with Spike Lee to talk about those two back together again. Here's our conversation.
All right, Spike, and I know we're here to talk about your movie, but you and I, we can't, it always got to be a sports conversation. How your little Yankees doing?
Well, you know what? The Knicks were easy to conversation.
We just skipped the baseball season, huh?
Not easy. You know what would be a great if we make the Rockets meet the Knicks.
Hey, I'm telling you.
You know that's the Elijah, you know, Pat Ewing. So that'd be great if we in the future, the near future, we meet in the NBA Finals.
Well, in the spring, I've already circled the date. Madison Square Garden. Last night, I was like, oh, I got to hit Spike. I said, we got to go to the game together. Because, man, listen, y'all balled out. Got a new coach. Hey, we got a young team. I think it's going to be a fantastic.
I love your coach, too. I love your coach, too.
Oh, yeah. So it's going to be all good. And I think, so we'll see what happens. Man, let's get to it. You and Denzel back together again.
Like the song Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway, but I'm not gonna sing it.
Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell.
What song?
What don't matter. I'm talking about great duets.
No, I thought that you were gonna say a song from their great songs.
You're all I need to get by.
Oh, there you go.
Ain't nothing like the real thing.
Marvin and Tammy.
That's it.
Donnie and Roberta, the greats.
How long has it been since y'all did a movie together?
Inside Man it's like 18 and 19. What is it? Can you tell me what the number is? 19 years. I did not know, Roland. I did not know 19 years expired between Inside Man and this new joint. The new joint by the dynamic duo, Highest to Lowest. And I did not know that till a journalist told me. So,
man.
But it's not like Denzel and I did not know that, and I feel like that. And it wasn't a situation where we felt like we had to relearn and redone the previous 4 films. It was like Highest to Lowest was yesterday. You know, that's how deep our relationship goes.
And again, 19 years, because it seemed like, man, I swear, for a while there, every year it was a movie coming out. Listen, I still talk about, we just had our Black Journalists Convention, National Association of Black Journalists in Cleveland. And I tell people all the time, they debuted Mo Better Blues at the convention, and I remember just sitting in that movie theater, mesmerized, the colors, Ernest Dickerson. One of my favorite Spike Lee joints, Mo Better Blues. Bleak.
You know, the Mo Better makes it Mo Better.
Mo Better, and you want some more of that Mo Better? Yeah, I want some more of that Mo Better.
I think we delivered with this new joint, the Highest to Lowest.
Let's talk about that. Because what for this newest, what inspired you? The setting, music exec, Denzel's the boss. My goodness, you got the amazing Jeffrey Wright. How did this come together?
Well, this is a film that was made in 1963, post-war Japan, by the great, magnificent Japanese director Akira Kurosawa, which he adapted from a book by Ed McMahon called King's Ransom. So this script been going around and around for years, and ended up in Denzel's hands. And it takes place in New York, and the whole music that was in there. And Denzel blessed me by saying, Spike, I want us to work again. This film takes to New York. You know New York front and backwards. And that's how it happened. You know, it was, I did not know it was 19 years ago since The Inside Man. But Roland, here's the approach we had, because we did not want to make, we were not doing a remake. We were doing a reinterpretation. So
explain that for the audience that doesn't understand what that means.
It means that you respect the original, but you're not trying to do everything that was done, and you're trying to expand it at. So Roland, here's the deep thing. I put myself, I'm a great jazz musician. So we could see Julie Andrews singing my favorite things in The Sound of Music, written by Roger Hammerstein. Great. American standard. But what did Coltrane do? What did Miles Davis when he did My Funny Valentine? What did Elvis Gerald and Louis Armstrong do when they did the album Porgy and Bess? It's reinterpretations of great standards. And that's the approach we took with this film.
It's a crime thriller. You obviously have the amazing Denzel Washington. But when I saw the trailer, I went, oh my God, Spike has Denzel and Jeffrey Wright together. Talk about, you know, that combo, because you're talking about, I mean, Jeffrey Wright is, I've said this numerous times, I believe is one of the most underrated, underappreciated actors in Hollywood.
You're not lying. So since you ain't lying, say it again for the last row.
Again, I've told this to him directly, and I'm going to send him a text when we get done. Jeffrey Wright, flat out, one of the most underappreciated actors. In fact, I believe that it's the same thing I said to Delroy Lindo when you did the movie with him, the Vietnam movie. The Five Bloods, and same thing. So it's just, unfortunately, the way Hollywood works, these amazing actors don't get the juicy roles, things along those lines. But just talk about those two together on screen. They're how they flow back and forth.
Or number one, and thank you for saying that. And also, there's deep love and respect between them. Deep. Game recognizes game. I'm going to repeat that. Game recognizes game. And when you have two giants, no matter what we're talking about, sports, whatever, that come together from a place where it's not competition, but love and respect, it just lifts up teams in sports. And the same thing in the art, you know, in music and film. And so it was a blessing to have these two in this film. And you got to add Wendell Pierce. You know, don't sleep on Wendell Pierce. And then
there you go.
Then you got the new Jack, the new kid on the block, A$AP Rocky, who's bringing it too. Don't sleep on Rocky in this film. You know, he goes toe to toe with Denzel.
So you just mentioned two other brothers. So give people a sense of what it was like on that set. And you have, frankly, you got the OG, you got the OG and Denzel, the seasoned vets in Jeffrey and Wendell, and then the young cat in A$AP, and how the four of them mesh to really create something dynamic on the big screen?
To be honest, it wasn't a thing. You know, everybody knew what their position was, what was required. I called the play. They went into formation. you know, Roland, you know I'm going to work sports in here somewhere. You know?
Of course.
People did their job. People knew their job. They read the script. They knew what was required. And here's the most important thing. They're coming to this with love.
Mm-hmm.
Love, respect. And when you come from that place of love and admiration, the bullshit doesn't get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
One of the things that I think also is another character is frankly the setting of the movie, the energy, the speed, all of that. I think that's a lot of times that's often overlooked. I remember when 12 Years a Slave came out, and I never forget how Steve McQueen used that sound for these really, really, really long spaces that actually made it very uncomfortable.
Right.
And I was watching, I remarked that. I look at movies a little bit differently.
Right.
But the sound, the energy, the pacing of the city, I believe also plays a role in a movie like this.
It's a character. New York City is another character in the film. And I think, this film go down as one of the great New York City films that have been great ones. I mean, films by Scorsese, Sid Lumet, Dog the Afternoon with Pacino, Billy Freakin's The French Connection. So there's a history of great, great films where New York City is a character, and I hope people add this film to that list.
You've done so many movies in the nation's capital, Film Registry. What still excites you? What still gets you fired up? What still brings you joy?
Outside of sports?
Yes, outside of sports. Outside of being in the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. You didn't think I saw that?
As a fan. But Roland, all jokes aside, I thank you for that question, because something I think about often now more in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Next year is going to be my 4th decade as a filmmaker, about 40 years. And it's a blessing because I say this to my class, I'm a tenured professor of film at NYU Graduate Film School. Also artistic director of the school, is that I'm blessed. And when an individual is able to make a living doing what they love, it's a blessing. And the joy of this people on this God's earth go to their grave having worked at a job they hated. And they're not going to let their children not have food on the table, pillows in the back, or a roof over heads. So you got to do what you got to do for your family. But the joy is not coming from that profession or job you have. So I'm blessed. I'm doing what I love. I have great friends like yourself. And I'm artistic. I come from artistic families. And I'm just, which my father would never had. Great musician, did the scores for my films. She's gonna have at school days, Do the Right Thing, Mo Better Blues. So it's a blessing. But it's my opinion that if you ain't working hard, you ain't busting your ass, them blessings ain't coming.
Tyler Perry said,
it's just not going to fall out of the heavens and you're the next, what?
Boom. That's the one thing. When I travel around this country and young people come up to me and they say, I want to do what you do. And I say, well, this is what I tell her. But do you want to do what I do? They step back. Then they step back.
So you don't break it down.
And I literally walk them through. I just had 5 interns who just finished. I mean, you know, we were sitting right here. I literally just landed in Indianapolis. Race to the hotel. Room's not ready. Not a problem. Set the laptop up. External camera, light, wireless microphone. I didn't bring anybody with me. And what I told them was, I said, if you want to do what I do and get what I've gotten, then you got to do what I do. It's called work ethic and it's studying.
Hold on, Roland. Repeat those 2 words again.
I tell everybody it's work ethic. You have to combine work ethic, studying your craft, because they go together. Because you just said something when you were talking about your students, your class. When I interviewed Maddie Rich and I FaceTime you, and Maddie and he and Spike, you may not have seen the interview, but dude, he was crying. And he said, man, I was holding that thing in 20 years. He says, I now understand what Spike was trying to tell me back then. And here's Maddie now teaching in a film school. And his wife came up to me at Essence and she said, Roland, you don't understand. He was carrying that burden for 20 years. And what you were saying to him then was, you made a good movie. You made a great movie. You're getting all of his attention. Study your craft, work ethic, focus on understanding how to do this, the nuances. And he said, and it's amazing he's not doing that. And so many people, Spike, they want the selfies, they want the riches, they want to be able to be known, to connect with the celebrities, but they don't want to do the work.
You got to do the work. Got to put the work in. But no, can I add to you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the thing.
This your interview.
Here's the secret. Here's the secret. If you love what you're doing, it's not work.
Boom.
If you love what you do, it's not work.
If I was Terrence, if I was Morris Chestnut in Best Man, sustained.
That's the
sustained.
Beauty. That's the beauty. If you find, here's the thing, though. Everybody doesn't look. It's unfortunate. Everybody doesn't find that something that they love. But when you do, you're gonna. If you love it, you're not thinking about the hardships you have to go through to get where you want to get there. But when you love something, when you are blessed to find something that you want to do, something you want to devote your life to devote the rest of your life to, whatever it is, it's not work. And that's why.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
But here's the thing, though. It's the trick because you're tricking your mind. You know you know it's hard, but your mind is tricked because you love what you're doing. So the hard work stop you from doing where you got to get to.
Dude,
we're dropping pearls today, baby.
No, I mean what you just said. I'm telling you, it's like when people they stop me and they say, "Hey, Roland, this your sister's birthday party. You got 4 cameras going and you're shooting stuff." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, that was work." I mean, it was just. So for me, I get joy out of shooting. I get joy. See, everything for me, people don't realize, Spike, I went to communications high school. I learned behind the camera before I was in front of the camera.
Well, so repeat it again. Repeat that again.
I learned behind the camera before I got in front of the camera. And I was excellent at that. So shooting and setting up cameras and setting up mics and framing shots, I was doing that in the 10th, 11th grade. So what about being in front of the camera? In fact, you're going to love this, Spike. We couldn't walk into the TV studio the first semester. We had to learn cables, definitions, and everything. So the second semester, Mary waits, unlocks the door, and all the students rush to the set. Exactly what I said. I turned my right, I said, where does the person sit who tell them what to do? And she said, they sit in over there. I said, I'll be over there. That was the control room. And so, but it's the work ethic. And so even though 4 halls of fame, multiple honorary degrees, I still get joy out of a new piece of equipment, Spike. Oh, I can do this, I can do that. And that's the love.
L-O-V-E.
That's the love.
Love. You know, you could just, I know it might sound simplistic, but L-O-V-E. L-O-V-E.
Absolutely.
That's the key. And the sad thing is that sometimes people don't find, for whatever reason, that joy or that love. And it's sad.
Yeah, that is sad.
And also, let me jump right here. You could just tell. Roland, you ever been around people, and the energy you get is like it's just off and like.
Oh yeah.
And you just after that, you're like, I ain't gonna be around them no more because I don't want to catch.
No, seriously, I mean, one of the, I appreciate God giving me discernment. There are folk, I'm like, matter of fact, I told somebody this, they thought I was lying. I said, I've met a lot of celebrities. It's some people, I don't want their phone number.
Bad
Straight
energy.
Up. It's
bad energy.
It's some cats.
I don't
want their phone number. I don't want to talk to them again. If I see them, I'm gonna stay on this side. I might wave, keep it moving. And they like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. I don't. And because again, other folk can bring you down. That negativity, man. I don't want that thing around me. I don't even want you speaking to my family members.
That energy is bad.
yeah. The operative word is bad. It's bad.
Not the way Michael said it, though.
Say it again.
Not the way Michael sang it.
Yeah, no. He said bad. We talking about bad.
You know how we be flipping stuff.
When a person sits in that seat and they sit down and watch the movie. And for me, I was taught, again, by Mary Waits, you watch till the end of the credits. She said, because don't leave when the action's over. She said, because the credits, that's how that movie got made. So ever since high school, I literally stayed in that seat.
Right.
But as a director, what do you want a moviegoer to walk out of that theater saying after they watch this movie? Or what do you want them to feel?
Denzel is such a magnificent actor, definitely one of the greatest living actors today. And this film is about choices, morality, ethics. And you have an actor like Denzel, the audience watching this performance puts himself in Denzel's shoes. And so when that happens, they become engaged. And the choices they see Denzel make, they ask themselves, if I was in Denzel's shoes, what choice would I make and not make? And that's when great cinema, for me, occurs when audiences become engaged, and ask themselves, what would I do? For example, this film, there's a mishandled kidnapping, and I'm just gonna say it, might be giving away to some, but it's in the trailer though, so that's all right. If your son or child or relative is kidnapped, but there was a mistake and they grabbed the wrong person.
Oh.
But the person who's doing the kidnapping said, I don't care if I made a mistake. You still gotta pay the money. Would you pay $17.5 million for a son or daughter that wasn't yours? So the audience is thinking, they're seeing what's happening on screen, but then it comes deeper. What would I do in that situation?
Yep. That's choices. And the problem is Denzel's so good. I got Henry works on my staff. He said, man, he's so good. He had me pulling for Frank Lucas in American Gangster. He was like, he said, he walked out of the church. I was like, come on, Frank, get away. I mean, but again, but what you just said right there, that tells you when a person brings such power to a character that you cheer for the bad guy.
And there's only a few people on this earth can do that. And our brother from Money in Mount Vernon is one of them.
I gotta ask you this here, because I know you got a bunch of other interviews stuff along those. I gotta ask you this here. Somebody said, Lord, Denzel turned 70 and he just been snapping on everybody.
Recently, right? He tore up Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones.
Boy, said, all money ain't good money.
These sports talking heads. Denzel been snapping on everybody. They said, man, the brother turned 70. He got saved again, became a preacher. They said he been lighting everybody up.
He caught fire. And I'm telling you, you don't want to get caught in that fire. Let me from experience. You don't want to get caught in that fire when D goes off on your ass.
Well, you don't want that fire. You don't want it. You don't want it. You're going to love this one. So I met Paulette, his wife, and Paulette. Sam's wife, LaTanya, before I met Denzel and Sam. So I had their phone numbers before. I don't have Denzel's, I got Sam. But the funny thing is, I text Paulette, we text all the time. And man, when I heard that Denzel was a Cowboy fan, and Spike, you understand, I hate the Cowboys more than I hate the Klan. I'm 100% Houston. Man, he started talking smack. Wait a minute. He started talking smack, and she's transcribing his smack talking, and I was talking back. So I said,
texting each other? You were texting each other?
No. I was texting Paulette.
All right.
And I was trashing the Cowboys, and Paulette was relaying to him what I was texting. He was telling her what to text back to me, and it was like this here.
I know that was funny.
Oh, absolutely. Because I can't stand the Cowboys. I want them to go lose every preseason game and go 0-16.
But you have love for the orange and blue, though, right?
Who's that? Oh yeah, the Astros. Absolutely.
Oh, the Knicks.
No.
You guys are black and orange, not blue and orange.
No, we're blue and orange. I'm sorry.
Why you steal it?
I'm sorry. We're blue and no. We're blue and majestic orange. No, we always had our blue. I got the old school rainbow J.R. Richards jersey.
Whoa. What year was the expansion year of the Houston Astros?
We were the Colt 45s, and then in the late 60s became the Houston Astros.
What was the year?
I don't know, like 68, 69.
The New York Knickerbockers, one of the charted members of NBA. We were orange and blue way before you guys. So
I know, what? But y'all haven't won a title since the original Shaft came out.
That was a good one. Shaft, he's a bad move. Isaac Hayes.
Shut your mouth.
We always have a good time together.
Who was the biggest surprise in this movie that caused you to go, damn, they good?
Well, what I would say for the audience, my brother, they're gonna say A$AP Rocky. He's in there swinging. They're trading shots, Denzel and A$AP in this film, and what wasn't scripted, it turned to a rap battle.
Really?
Denzel dropping Nas, Illmatic.
That's the thing. See, Denzel's competitive because you talked about in He Got Game when he was like, "Listen, I ain't getting beat. I'm gonna score something. I'm gonna hit some." He wasn't
gonna be a donut. He was gonna at least score some baskets. And another thing, Roland, real quick, is that Denzel played JV at Fordham, and PJ Carisco was the coach.
Really? Matter of fact, I just had one of my interns runs track at Fordham. She was just on our
before the Rams.
But see, I just love that part again. So whether it was He Got Game or what you just described, the competitive nature is like, so you're a rapper, okay, all right, okay. I mean, don't think I'm an old geezer. I got something for you too.
But the reason why that works, Roland, it just lifts the whole film up. So it's not done for selfish purposes. It's done to make the film better.
There you go. Well,
and also go a little dig deeper. It's about love.
Right. But see, this is the mistake that I think people make when they talk about competition. Mm-hmm. Competition ain't bad. Magic said Larry made him better. Larry said Magic made him better. Bill Russell said Wilt made him better. Wilt said Bill Russell made him better. The OJs, Eddie Levert, the OJs said the Temptations made them better. The Temptations said the Four Tops made them better. It drives me crazy when folk are scared to look at somebody else and their greatness challenge you to be greater, and
that's why this whole thing about who's the GOAT is oh man, I'm done with that.
I hate it. I think it's stupid.
Michael don't give a what about that, and I think that it's gone overboard with this LeBron Michael thing. I mean, it's why can't they both be great? I mean, it's gone overboard, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired.
I don't even want to. The thing for me, Spike, I don't want to hear the greatest stuff because you can't act like Kareem didn't exist, the Big O didn't exist, and Bill Russell didn't exist. So to me, it's just stupid. I don't want to hear it. To me, you revel in the greatness of all of them, and that to me, I think is the most important.
Growing up in Brooklyn, the thing was who's better, Mickey Mann or Willie Mays, and I was saying to say, hey kid, Willie Mays.
There you go. Last question for you, Spike. If you had to sit down and somebody, no, I don't want to ask that question. You were in a group. You go somewhere. You in a classroom with a group of students, and this is shocking, but they don't know who Spike Lee is. Let's go to the future. We are 100 years in the future, and you're in a classroom with a group of students. Of all your movies, what movie would you want to show them that speaks to who you are?
Malcolm X. And I think that Denzel gave one of the greatest performances in film ever in his depiction of my brother, Malcolm. And that's the film that had the most writing on it. I don't know if I ever told you this, but before we did the film, I called up the Minister Farrakhan, said, my beloved, we got to talk. So I flew to Chicago and sat down with the minister because I cannot put cast the crew in danger. I cannot have the Fruit of Islam FOIs roll up on set. We had a great meeting, and Minister Farrakhan, I've said this publicly before, so it's not a secret. He said, Spike, I really cannot comment on what you'll say about Honorable Elijah Muhammad. No, he said, I really can't comment on what you said about Brother Malcolm. But be very careful what you say about Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And then when the movie came out, I got this letter from Minister Farrakhan saying how much he loved the film, and I framed it, and it's up on the wall in my office. But I had to do that. I had to go to Chicago and sit down with the minister. I had to do that.
But you also, and this is the off-screen part, you also let the Teamsters know, y'all don't hire some black drivers.
Oh, yeah. The Teamsters are a union. They drive the trucks, and I met with Tommy O'Donnell, and I said, look, why are there no black Teamsters? If you don't put some brothers and sisters into the union, I'm having FOI drive the trucks. And it wasn't a threat. I just looked. And I know you don't want to be messing with the brothers from the Fruit of Islam. So that was really a great moment. Now, if you understand that historically, these unions have kept minorities and women out.
Yep.
That was a big breakthrough.
Yep. Well, it looks like you have done some truly amazing things, man. It's always great when we get to chop it up. I really hope. And let me tell you something right now.
We're not talking about sports, right?
And let me tell you something. This I need everybody to understand in terms of my love for you, my love for Denzel, my love for Jeffrey Wright and Wendell Pierce. See, these streaming services, they don't spend money. They barely spend any money on Black-owned media. And I have a typical rule when they got movies.
A different conversation.
There you go. And I have a rule. They all call me to push the product, but they don't want to spend no money on advertising. So an exception was made for this movie and you, Apple Studios, A24.
No. I said, yo, don't let me, you don't want, you better call Roland and get us in.
Yeah, because see, the deal is
let's be honest. So no ownership, not ownership, but
advertising.
Advertising has ever been bought from Apple?
The only thing ever, it was when the movie Swagger came out, when the show Swagger came out, and they came to me, they asked me to moderate a panel. I had to cast on the show, and it was like a $10,000 deal. And, you know, and the sister who was there, I had hooked up with, who was at NABJ, and they were talking, we want to do this much broader thing. And I ain't got a problem saying it. I reached out to some other executives there, and the CMO at Apple wouldn't even meet with me. They've never spent any money. And we talking about Apple, Hulu, Paramount, Stars, all these people. And this is what I tell them. Y'all want my audience to watch your stuff, and you want to bring your stars for interviews, but then you don't want to spend any advertising money. And I told,
that's a goddamn shame. And look, word is bond. I will be speaking to Apple.
Brother, I appreciate it. Because
where is bond?
I mean,
and thank you. And thank you for doing this without getting any advertisement. But this will be the last time.
My brother, I appreciate it. Highest to lowest. Folks, check it out.
It's in the theaters. Let's see it in the theaters.
It's in theaters. IMAX, see on the big screen, and then later it'll be streaming, but catch it in the movie theaters first. That's a whole different experience than watch it on your little bit of TV at home. Spike.
Those TVs, whoa, hold up. Them TVs are big-ass bodies.
Okay, you're right. I do have a couple of 82-inch TVs.
One thing I'm asking of you. Next time we're on, you got to learn how to do the tighten up from Archie Bell and the Drills.
Spike, you gotta say,
go to YouTube.
It's videos all on YouTube of me dancing. So that ain't a problem.
Are you doing it tightened up though? Archie Bell.
That ain't a problem.
What?
All right, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna show you that next time. Since you're gonna challenge your brother. Since you're gonna challenge your brother.
Love.
But I love it. I appreciate my brother. Tell the wife I said hello.
Okay, I will.
All right, brother. Peace.
Yeah. New mixes of mood music. I need a theme. Theme music.
Hey!
Wake up, y'all. The king's here.
Got to pay back.
Buying back, stacking his records. It's a lot of money. There's more to life than just making money. It's integrity. That's what you stand for.
What you think? I think you gotta be a little crazy sometimes in this world to get what you want.
King David, now ain't this something? I got your full attention now, huh? You finally listening to me.
Somebody's got Trey.
What do you mean somebody's got?
Somebody's kidnapped our son.
$17.5 million in the all-black Jordan backpack.
Try me if you think I'm playing.
I ain't got
Back out the trunk from the front.
11 a.m. board the 4 train going to money making Manhattan.
You let him go, I make sure you set free.
It's too late for all that.
It's never too late.
You're not God no more, I am.
At 35, and I'm still a pretty guy.
I gotta feed the streets, my lady, and a newborn kid. And I ain't trying to go back and do another bid, you dig?
I know what it is to risk everything you have for something that you want. I know what that means, to have nothing and want everything.
What is that? Insurance. That's Jake from State Farm.
Shout out to my felons, boy, we caught another felony. Shout out to my felons, boy, we caught another felony. Shout out to my felons, boy.
I can't go out like this, you know that.
Shout out to my felons.
Well, then his blood is gonna be on your hands then.
Pack out the trunk.
How you want to do this? I got into this by myself. I'm gonna get out of it by myself.
Where's my money? I got the 4-pounder sitting right here. Don't try nothing funny.